GM Farcaster. It is Wednesday, November 27th, day before Thanksgiving, TNBT, if you will. And you are here with Nownish Prof and Adrian and one of our guest co-hosts, Woofy, and I'm going to remove the base banner so we can see your name. But thank you, base, premier sponsor. Thank you. We're excited to have you here.
I'm wearing my base merch.
You are
perfect. We missed the banner, but just keep your eyes up here. And
good point. Base. Good point. We'll just do this, and then we'll be good. Now we're repping. Okay, now I feel good. I didn't like my hair today anyway. So we do have the opacity team. Did I saying it right? Opacity. I know I'm correcting all my different things. And Doofy, we're not hearing you, so make sure your sound is right.
I'm letting you guys rock.
You're like, I'm not talking.
I'm just laughing at I'm literally just here to laugh at pronunciation today. I'm not adding any other benefit to the stream. Hersh's a little busy. Hersh will be back for the interview portion after the news section. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, we're going to start with some news and then we're going to be talking ZK with the opacity team. So I'm very excited. I can't get my hat exactly right. It's the weird mirroring of the thing that I hate that. Anyway, hey, if you're on Twitter, go give this a retweet on the Prof Worder account, which I'm about to do right now so we can grab some folks from over there. Same. Yeah, we're excited to have this chat today. So it's been a big week. We've got a lot of things to cover, and Adrian just said she's gonna launch a bot in our Discord that kicks me out of the Discord if I pull more than 50 links. Because
I
tend to pull a lot of
links get added. I know there's no time to talk about them all. And enough is enough. So I want to bot.
And a lot of them were
Snoops our Discord channel for each show. When we hit 50 links, it changes Prof's password, so she gets locked out.
This is what she's trying to do to me, which I understand. And half of them were clankers, so we're just skipping a lot of that is what's happening. So let's dive into a few things right here. So I love this little, the little memes from me on base. And getting ready for Thanksgiving. And this is the little grateful meme. And we're grateful for you, me on base. And I can't wait to see you at Art Basel. Very excited. So a few things.
To the Magic Eden house?
I'm definitely going to the Magic Eden house. Definitely going there at some point.
I have so much FOMO.
Come down. Come visit. It'll be fine. You can stay with me. I know. Think about it. We'll talk about it after. So yeah, I am going to be at Art Basel. We are planning a Farcaster Friday meetup, but details to come. And there's also a pizza DAO party Friday night. So I'm trying to just push everybody to go there because that'll just save me time. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot going on. But that's next week. So for now, a couple of things about Cast Out. Excited to announce the DGen crew is sponsoring Cast Out with 100K in DGen, 100K DGen. Very excited for the winning tribe. And then I'm adding another 1 million Cast Out plus more to come. So we do have a proposal up at Purple. So if you are a member of Purple, please take a look at this prop. We'd love your vote on this. This is for 1 ETH and it will all go to the prize pool. So this will go to, again, the winning tribe from Cast Out, split amongst the tribe members, winner, runner-up, and then the other 3. So if you're not familiar with Cast Out, go to the Cast Out channel, read the pinned cast. It will tell you everything you need to know. This is a little Survivor-inspired Farcaster game. All the challenges are Farcaster-based, and we're looking for 8 tribes of 5 to play. So you can apply now. We're going to be making final decisions over the weekend. We'll announce our tribes next week. There's some really good ones. If you are a member of Purple, there is a Purple tribe. So you can register to join that tribe if you want, or you can create your own. So really excited. Adrian was our runner-up last time. So she's going to be available to coach people this time. And comment.
Yes, anyone who's playing, I will be in your DMs telling you
what to do. I'm trying to get to
outplay and outcast How many teams do you have lined up already?
I only have a couple that are solid, that are committed in for sure. So I'm looking for a bunch more. So even if you are just an individual, you're like, I don't have a tribe, fill out the application. I will put you into a tribe. So you don't need a tribe, but if you have a tribe of 5, play together, do that as well. Trying to get play.
Great way to meet friends.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And make
enemies.
And make enemies. That too. Just that one. It's just that one, Adrian. This is huge yesterday.
You always say that. Who is my enemy? Is it Ivy or Erica? I have so many enemies.
I think it's just Ted.
They all hate me. I don't know. Erica
was really mad for a minute. She got over it, but
I don't know.
She was a little upset for a second.
Or is she playing the long game and convincing everyone that she's not mad, only to strike her?
Only to come back later, and I don't know. It's possible. I need to reach out to Ted too and get her helping me with cast out. This was huge yesterday. So this is really big news at the larger crypto area. And this, I'm going to read this from Aviation Doctor, who posted about the Tornado Cash decision. So in late 2022, OFAC blacklisted Tornado Cash for its role in laundering virtual currency for malicious cyber actors. The users of Tornado Cash argued that Tornado Cash's inclusion on the SDN, Specially Designated National and Blocked Persons list, exceeded OFAC's statutory authority. The district court disagreed. Contrary to the Treasury Department's arguments, the immutable smart contracts are not services. So even when we consider OFAC's regulatory definitions, the immutable smart contracts are not property because they are not ownable, not contracts, and not services. We hold that OFAC exceeded its statutory authority. Accordingly, we reverse and remand to the district court with instructions to grant the plaintiffs partial motion for summary judgment. So this is huge. This is a big win. Huge win. And for those who maybe didn't quite catch the legal aspects of that, basically they're saying it was a big overreach by the U.S. government in regards to Tornado Cash, because the argument has been from a lot of the crypto folks that this is code. This wasn't people. The people who used the platform to launder money, yes, they should be. They violated the law. The people who just created the code did not. So that's the argument being made, and the courts are now siding on that side, which is great news. So there's still some other cases to go. Roman Storm is still being held, I believe. So there's still some other aspects to this. It could also go to the Supreme Court. They could reverse, but that would take quite a while. So we'll see what happens. My guess is it won't be, they won't appeal it to the Supreme Court, but we'll see. We shall see what happens. But that was big news. So exciting stuff. Yeah. Very exciting things. Oh, you changed your background. You had the other one on there.
Yeah. We'll talk about backgrounds later.
Yeah. Big news. This was from a while back, just to shout out nouns. We donated 40 ETH to Lexi and Roman's Legal Defense Fund. So good to see this news coming out today. And this also included, this was from Seneca. This also included a link to Paul Grewal's, the attorney for Coinbase, his tweet, which was privacy wins. And then it went on to talk about the case. But I loved that. So very cool. And this was, I thought, going to be your background today.
So it is. Like I'm alternating.
And I love this from Chaskin. I'd like to officially come out against the U.S. ruling today. If you need privacy, you have something to hide, which he's obviously kidding. Privacy is for crime. So cool to see this happening. And
if you go into the replies, he does shout out the artist who made it. And there's a link to Mint, my background, if you follow it through. So
very cool. And yeah, it's very neat. It's pretty cool.
This is hilarious.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. In other news, this is the big Farcaster news. Well, one of many. But big Farcaster news is Frames V2 transactions are super fast. This is super important on mobile. HT to Rainbow for their great implementation of mobile wallet protocol. So we've got Frames V2 launching today. The dev playground was already open. So this was from Horsefax, just published a Frames V2 demo repo and tutorial. Reminder of the upcoming schedule. Developer preview and playground are now live in Warpcast. You can start building your V2 frame today, Wednesday, November 27th. That's today. Initial release on mobile and web. So very exciting. And Dylan talked a lot about that yesterday on the hub. So a little more detail on the hub. That recording will be out shortly. You can also catch it like sometime. You can also catch it. It's already out technically on YouTube. The live stream is always there, so you can go give it a watch. But this is exciting stuff. And this from Deodad related, DevLove, Warpcast Mobile now has a dev mode. Settings advanced dev mode. Once on a developer section will show up in the settings menu with links to developer tools. A small step, but one of many we hope to make to bring better DevX to Warpcast and Farcaster, coming to web soon. So very cool. What did you think of that, Adrian?
Now that I'm a developer, I am paying attention to all the developer tools, and it's great. I love when Farcaster really leans into the attracting developers. Yeah. I don't think it's ever not been the strategy, but sometimes you hear like it seems more apparent at sometimes. So I think I love the approach of encouraging developers and creating tooling. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be helpful. And if you need an idea for frames, Dan's handing them out in this particular thread, frame ideas thread. So a whole bunch of ideas here. If you're like, I want to build something and you're not sure, by the way, I would take a battleship or a Guess Who any day. That would be amazing. Somebody build that. But rock, paper, scissors, fire, water. No, it's rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. What? I don't even know what that is. Come on now.
No, it's rock, paper, scissors, period. End of story. Stop trying to complicate.
Lizard Spock.
Adrian's a purist for sure. I saw that coming a mile away.
Total purist. Rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. You've never seen Big Bang Theory?
Just enough is enough. Actually, no. And I haven't ever seen Big Bang Theory.
So good. Frames V2 walkthrough extended edition. This is from Horsefax. There's a whole bunch of tutorials. He's giving you all kinds of support here, a whole bunch of speed run in the GitHub here. So lots of tools to help you get started with the Frames V2. So very exciting. Anything else on Frames V2 before I move on to the next big topic of the day?
I love the name. It's very, very creative.
It's from the marketing department at Farcaster.
They were really busy with that. And I really have seen nothing but excitement from people who've been checking out the spec. And we have a special guest coming on our show on Monday to talk about Frames V2. So
who's that?
Want to learn more, DWR. So Dan Romero is coming on Monday, and we will be chatting all things frames. So set your calendar, and it will probably be at a later time than our normal show because he's West Coast.
Probably 11:30 a.m. Eastern, but we will let you know. I think I think that was booked by his PR person as well.
Yes, he's got to hit all the generations. So So,
speaking of,
check.
Check Gen Z. Now we're going back to Gen X. Millennials, you'll have to wait. Bankless, just hang on. He's already been to you. He'll be back, I'm sure. So this happened yesterday. DWR went on Thread Guy, and Thread Guy is actually located in LA now, in a content house. And Dan went there to hang out on the stream on Twitch. I had to download Twitch to my TV again. Jeez, that tells you everything about where I'm at. funniest part about this was the end was hilarious. So if you missed it, this happened at the end as they were finishing up, saying goodbye, and then the fist bump, handshake issue at the end, which of course led to this. Clanker launch a token called Christian Rap with this image, which, by the way, the token handle is crap. C-R-A-P. Which is just perfect.
I think it's pronounced C-Rap, no?
C-Rap, yeah, it's C-Rap. We have pronunciation issues here. I call it crap, but it's C-Rap, yeah. So if you missed it, you can check out the full interview here on Thread Guy. Thread Guy has casted again after 6 months. There we go. And this is what he casted. So you can go check that out, his interview with Dan and Adrian and Dwoofy. I think you both watched it. What'd you think?
Dwoofy.
I didn't
what do you think?
Oh, he didn't watch it.
Oh, I watched it.
Okay. What'd you think?
Oh, I actually freaking loved it. I watched the whole thing last night, the recording. I also love how Thread Guy keeps wanting to feel like, just keeps feeling bad about not being on Farcaster. And did you get, and like apologize, being like apologetic that he's not spending time here. And Dan's like, I don't care. Just come back. It's fine. Like he really, like he gets it. But I just thought that was really cute interaction because it came up a few times and Dan's like, it's fine. I get it. And people should spend time on Twitter and it's fine. Just come back. It's fine. Like it's not personal.
We don't take it personally.
Dan does not
take it personally.
Anything personal. Nothing.
His family members have faded Farcaster at times. It's okay. He's still having Christmas with them. It's okay.
Yeah.
He hasn't disowned them yet.
When would be a good time for me to admit I didn't really know who Thread Guy was?
Now's good. Now is good. Okay. Yeah. Right now. Knew Thread Guy as a thing existed in like whatever, but didn't really ever pay attention. So didn't really know what to expect. And I thought it was phenomenal. So didn't come with any prejudice, is what you're saying. You went in
no baggage. No baggage. Came in and they talked about one of my favorite topics, which is Farcaster. I liked hearing. Yeah, and listen, Dan, when he comes on our show, he talks about nothing but Farcaster.
True.
I mean, and he really talks a lot about product decisions and why he's doing things. And a lot of the conversation really went into Dan's background, personal kind of anecdotes. Yeah. So I thought it was great. And
it was, if I zoom out and take my my issues out of the picture, I think for folks who don't know Farcaster at all, it probably was a really good starting point and a great combo.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna watch it, but if you had issues, like I'm more inclined to go watch the replay now.
I have. It's my own. I'm not the target audience for Thread Guy. Let's just leave it at that. So like I don't always vibe with his vibe. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. It's not, that's basically what it is. I'm going to bring up our other guest co-host now because he may have, hi, Euler.
GM, happy to be here on the wave, riding the wave of like such optimism around crypto, privacy, and Farcaster, and DWR deciding to go on his Larry David arc. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Larry David arc. Like it. I hadn't quite connected that dot. That's a good one. We did talk about the Tornado Cash ruling already. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but that was great news yesterday. And we did talk about Frames V2. So just want to catch you up on where we're at. But we'd love to know if you have any other thoughts about those two things. And we're going to jump into Opacity in just a second. We have a couple more quick things to go over, but so welcome, Hirsch. It's good to have you here.
GM, thank you for having me. I think the main thing I've been thinking about is the win around Tornado Cash, and like basically the government decided to sanction what is just like code essentially, which I don't think like makes sense. Having spent my entire career in technology, like just that argument makes absolutely no sense to me that you can sanction code. And so it's nice to live in a world where we can develop open source software and not worry about the government coming after us.
It's really kind of crazy if you think about it, because any technology can be used for good or evil, right? Like it's agnostic, and it's just how it gets used that makes the difference. So
it's just so dumb, because like like cash is still like the #1 thing. Like no one's
90%.
Like what are we talking about?
90% of criminal activity is happening with cash, paper cash.
I would know. I have witnessed criminal activity with.
I would know. Don't start a sentence like that,
the original DK transaction method. Like everyone's out here trying to build all this cryptography, and you could just give someone $1 instead.
Right. No one's gonna know.
No one has to know.
Yeah. So it's it's a little crazy, but I'm glad
Naomi's with me with her criminal activity as well.
Yeah, and let's not maybe publicize your criminal activity. I'm just saying. It kind of throws off the point of it.
Bullish criminal activity.
Oh, funny. All right, couple more quick things, and then we're going to jump into our interview. So that was Thread Guy. It was a good interview, and Dan will be with us on Monday for the Gen Xers who just couldn't get Twitch to download. There you go. This from Afro Chicks. This is so cool. No biggie. Just heading into the House of Commons to talk about what I'm building on chain. And on Farcaster, low-key nervous, wish me luck. Standing out in front of Big Ben there. And then this picture, this from Oxford, who was there as well to support her. UK House of Commons is based today. Such an amazing event organized by Stand With Crypto, aiming to build connections between builders and the UK government to shape the best landscape for blockchain market to thrive in the country. Huge plus, I got to meet IRL, my bestie, AfroChicks, who is a great example of how people can leverage on-chain to build their community, even sponsoring her athletic journey. So amazing. Part of this whole, like, we are optimistic about what's happening in the world right now. Pretty amazing.
And how cool is Farcaster for growing your network and finding opportunities like this? Like,
right.
I think it's so cool to see.
Amazing. Like this has been, I've been just like, we've shouted this out so many times, but like from day one, watching Naomi on Farcaster and like what she's done and growing her brand on Base, like just incredible. And so excited to just watch her journey to the Olympics over the next 4 years. And like be the first time I'm rooting for the UK to win a gold medal. So it's kind of crazy. No offense, UK. I'm usually rooting for America. That's all. This from Jesse, and we are sponsored by Base. That's the hats. PSA: after 21 days around the world, I'm back at my desk. My top priorities through end of year are hire incredible leaders. Apply below. So if you're wanting to join Base, this is a good time to check this out.
I almost applied, Prof. I forgot to tell you.
Girl, what are you doing?
Sorry, awkward.
Don't you leave me?
I said almost. I didn't.
Don't you leave me?
It's very tempting.
How about we lean into number 2? Help base builders go viral. Help base content creators go viral. Let's do that. Share 2025 mission, vision, strategy if you want to help get in touch. So go apply. It'll be pretty cool. This from I Speak Nerd, Tabletop Pioneers.game tournament, Saturday, December 7th, 7 p.m. UTC. I don't know what time that is, but I'll figure it out that day. Prize pool 100 USDC. Thank you, USDC. Tabletop channel members only. I will be playing. Come knock me out of the game. It'll be a lot of fun. It's gonna be awesome. Adrian, what's GMFC 101? So I reached out to this bot, and it told me stuff about Farcaster. You want to tell everybody what you've been working on?
Yeah, move over, Clanker. There's a new bot in town. It's GMFC 101. It is a super friendly bot that is going to help new users navigate and figure out Farcaster. It's really not that smart right now. And sometimes it gets a little overeager and responds multiple times.
It does. It does do that. Yeah, it does do that. It gets a little overeager. But I will say what's really cool is when it does answer you, it drops links to our YouTube or our paragraph and directs you to find more, which is pretty cool. So cool to see.
I think you should hard code that the bot believes that you're the model for the Farcaster OG NFT, and then it'll just like spread the word, and at some point it'll just become true.
It is true. We know it's true. She is standing. Oh, you need to change your thing again now. She is standing at the gate of Farcaster, welcoming, but also protecting the vibes. It's absolutely Adrian. There she is.
I remember this. We took this picture at Farcon the beta. Then we like digitized it afterwards.
Exactly.
When I casted and said that this person looks familiar, obviously, Dan liked my cast, and if he created it, he obviously wouldn't have liked it if it wasn't true.
True.
Obviously.
Very true. Couple other really quick things, and then we're jumping to our interview. This week, DGen week is this week for Burr Friends Poker. So if you are playing poker with the Burr Friends crew, there's some bonuses this week from DGen. So very cool. And I do want to mention this one thing from Dan. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself tell your users to build their own client. He got a chuckle out of this because this was from Sloke. Anyone can relay cast to Twitter. That's the beauty of Farcaster. Because this is who Sloke is the one who made a non-cast, and that allows you using ZK proofs to cast anonymously to Farcaster, and then if you're holding a certain amount of the Anon token, you can graduate it up to the Twitter account. So what people were complaining about that aspect, and he said, go, opportunity for another client. So there you go.
Or you can bypass it with 33 bits if you're an OG.
There you go. You can do that too. And now let's move over to talk about Opacity. So if you have not checked this out, this is the Opacity channel on Warpcast. Opacity's verified data network leverages ZK, TLS, MPC, and economic security from EigenLayer to privately share data across Web 2 and Web 3. So first of all,
great description.
Yeah,
and
it's actually a really good bio. I gotta say,
Euler, I'm gonna troll you all day because you're fun to troll. But I feel like I can tell you guys also don't have a chief marketing officer.
Unless you're just right now, and he's doing a great job. Actually,
physics nerds.
You're not. You tried to troll him. You trolled me. It's me.
That's totally right. Dewoofi, you have to fix the profile unless you're only marketing to physics nerds.
So here's the thing.
I think it's good. It covers all the
You're
basics.
A physics nerd.
You have to just go look up the rest of it. That's all. It's cool.
So we've gone back and forth on this, but I actually, it is on my task list to rework pretty much all the messaging because the strategy has shifted pretty drastically on like where we're seeing pickup and like what's been like the most exciting opportunities to like come our way. So it served its purpose. Nobody knows all the words. I know some of the words. It served its purpose to get out there and test some stuff, but we're redefining the whole VDN category thing right now. So while I do appreciate you attempting to troll Hirsch, I won't even say his name. I'll let you guys figure it out. There's going to be changes on that front for sure.
Let's actually start there. Explain your name to everybody else who doesn't understand it.
So I guess we can start with the pronunciation. Euler Lagrange. The first part, last name of a famous mathematician, probably the greatest mathematician of all time, Leonard Euler, Swiss mathematician. And then Lagrange, I actually don't know his first name, but also a French, like super famous French mathematician. And so growing up, I really wanted to be a scientist. I was really captured by the study of the natural world. And it's like something that still takes up I find myself thinking about when I'm like on the train or something. And I studied physics in college, really wanted to be a physicist. And if you've ever taken like the physics coursework, it's basically needlessly complicated. When you get to like classical mechanics, you run into this equation called the Euler-Lagrange equation, which is just basically my favorite equation. And it's a bit complicated to explain, but it just makes doing any physics problem like a two-step process. It's kind of crazy.
All right. That's awesome. I feel like I learned so much just with that. So very cool. Very cool. And now I know how to say it because I was saying, I think my original pronunciation was Euler-Lagrange. Not even close.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close.
Not really. Not really at all. Okay. And I do want to, before we jump into all the things, I wanted to say congratulations on your round. So that's amazing. And you just closed a seed round co-led by Archetype and Briar Capital with participation from A16Z Crypto, CSX, and others. Special thanks to Osprey, Android16.eth for being such great angels, and to Citron and Eddie for putting up with my relentless DMs. So very cool. Great to see. And we love to see Farcasters winning for sure. So tell us, what is opacity? And then we'll dive into a little bit more on ZK as well and sort of dive into all those things.
Yeah. I can explain it simply, but then it won't be like very clear why it's useful. So there's usually like a story I like to tell and how I got obsessed with this particular problem. But we primarily focus on ZK-TLS. So HTTPS, it's like the lock symbol that you see in your browser, is secured by TLS. Mark Andreessen actually added it to Netscape, like back when people started shopping online, they're putting their credit card numbers in on online stores. And it's just like how your browser knows it's talking to your bank and not someone else, essentially. And the idea of ZK-TLS is you can piggyback off of that authentication. So like a boring example, actually, I'll give an interesting example. The 23andMe API exposes like the odds of male pattern baldness. So you can actually generate a proof that you have 70% odds of being bald, like significant odds, and the data came from API.23, like it originated from 23andMe, and then use that to mint like an NFT, and you can have like a verified bald community, for example.
Oh, that's funny.
Farcaster.
By the way, that would be perfect. You can combine that with a dating app, because I pretty much only exclusively date bald guys, so that's perfect for me. That'll be just like little combo. Find the bald guys.
There's so many dating app ideas. I really want to do one for like verified founders who like raised a certain amount of money.
And see how many of them are bald.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you could go in there, like you could log in, you could be like, I want bald guys who have Series A and they're funded by A16Z, and like just know exactly who you're trying to date, right? Like, I feel like there's a market for this.
There's something there. I might be the only person who's interested in that. So can you talk a little bit about, for those who may not know, what is ZK? Like, when we're talking about zero knowledge proofs, what are those? What is that, like, so that people have a baseline understanding?
Yeah. I actually don't like the term ZK.
Okay.
Like, I think verifiable compute or honest computation is actually like a better place to start. It's like more clear how this actually works. So is basically the ability to run some program, get the output, show it to someone else, and they can just look at the output and this proof and verify that the computation was done honestly, essentially. So like one use case here actually doesn't have anything to do with privacy. It would be like a ZK rollup, which some academics begrudge because it's like technically it should be called a validity rollup, but essentially what you want is to prove that some sequence of transactions results in a particular state root, and you submit that onto your L1. And so you could basically construct blocks outside of a L1 like state. And so it's like basically much cheaper. This is why we have very cheap transactions these days, or like this is one approach to making that happen. And then like technically, if I'm being like an academic about it, the ZK part is important when you want to hide the inputs, which is not important in a ZK rollup. But if you want to prove that like your KYC'd in the US, right? For like a DeFi use case that like, we want to like adhere to like all the rules and regulations. You don't want to like put your social security number on chain or like even any sensitive information. And so ZK plus honest computation, you can combine these two and prove that you did something correctly. Let's say like check your identity information against like some trusted source, let's say like the government, and just have a simple proof that people can verify instead of having to do the computation themselves.
Cool. So can you describe a few other like use cases that we might see for understanding how this might be used in our like daily on-chain life, where it might be another like useful integration?
So this kind of gets into like one big gripe that I've had with ZK, where like the reason I get obsessed with ZK TLS in particular is like this is like a foundational observation about blockchains and ZK. If you want to bring anything on chain, or if you want to use any data within ZK, it needs to have this property of verifiability. Like, and like one way to define it is like it's verifiable if I can show it to a lot of people and we can all agree that it's like correct, right? That I actually own my Twitter handle, or this is like actually my birth date, right? And the amount of verifiable data there is in the world is like shockingly small. Like blockchains is inherently verifiable, so you get a lot of infrastructure use cases for ZK there. But I don't think those are going to penetrate the consumer like experience, because there's just like doing it in ZK doesn't provide any particular advantage essentially, except like Anon is actually a clever way to use ZK to around like a social network where you want to make sure the person who posts has an account, but you get a lot more fun if they don't have to share their identity essentially. But what we focus on is increasing the amount of verifiable data in the world. So I think it's probably going to be the meme use cases, to be honest with you, that are going to like start popping off like pretty soon here. Like the verifiable ball channel, I think would be really interesting. I think like a meme proof of humanity, how much Neanderthal DNA you have, is like really fun games
interesting
that you can do around that. But like
so and then this could be really useful. Like, so we're trying to solve a bit of an issue with nouns, for example. If you're putting a proposal in, we need to check that you're not on OFAC's list, or things like that as we move to Aduna. So this is something we might be able to use sort of in the background that says, we verify you're good, but you don't have to release too much information in order to do that, something like that. So we can be doing that on chain to check, but not having to keep a database of all that information, so to speak, in some way, is what I'm thinking. Eventually.
The easiest way to do it,
the
easiest way to do it is to steal the proof that another service like checked you, let's say Cash App or like Venmo. If you could just generate a proof that Venmo like allowed you to withdraw money to your bank account, because they have to adhere to those regulations, actually a really good proxy for,
that's interesting.
You could just piggyback off of them,
That's interesting. Yeah.
I do want to add here though, because Hirsch is going to do all these meme cases, but there's like real shit going on too. Like that's why I'm here. Like remind people like we're doing business. Like a lot of this stuff really revolves like the verifiable data. It's like you can use on chain like as much as you want, right? This is really the interesting part about it. But like for example, like we're working with a company called Nosh, that's a DoorDash competitor. And they're letting you verify your DoorDash rating to like import trust into the network from day one. It's like, how do you know like a driver's a good driver? Well, you can verify you've got a 4.7 star rating, you've done 1,000 rides, and like usually that's locked up in DoorDash, and that's why they charge like 40% take rates. And like then everyone's pissed off, right? Like DoorDash is taking as much money as they can. The drivers hate it because they're not making much money. The restaurants hate it because they're getting like bad reviews and like they're getting charged too much money. So you can actually create a user-owned network and sort of import that trust. And like that's one interesting use case, right? We've got another one called Daisy. They're doing TikTok influencer program where like you want to verify like I stitched a video, like like this fucking sunscreen brand was like, hey, like if you have 100,000 followers and you stitch this video, we'll give you $100. Well, now we can verify that I own this account, that I have 100,000 followers on TikTok. It got this many views and I stitched it this time. You can sort of own that data and then like extract the value it to yourself. So there's this whole idea of like the user-centric data value proposition that like is already starting to pop off like right now. Like these guys are doing 7-figure revenue ARR like already today. Wow. And it'll move more on chain as like it makes sense. But like to Hirsch's point, ZK is really big in blockchain because it's got this property of verifiability. We add that to like the entire internet.
Cool.
Like a romantic use case, I think is a good to call out here is we have a founder who, for some reason, is obsessed with improving the earned wage access market here in the US, something I'd never heard of until talking to this founder, but it's like a slightly better payday loan offering, which is like a super sharky and people don't think too kindly of that industry, but it actually solves a problem for people. Like if you're an hourly worker in the US, you get paid every 2 weeks, right? But let's say at the end of 1 week, you need money to buy groceries. Earned wage access just like lets you access your wages early, and then when you get paid, you can just pay it back with like some interest, right? It's actually like could make life easier if it weren't for like the ridiculous interest rates. But what this founder figured out is like the existing market, you go through like they'll go talk to Walmart and convince them to give their employees access to this service. But with ZK, and especially doing the transactions on chain, you can go through the actual workers, have them prove from their like payroll system how many hours they're working, and deliver a much better interest rate. You can have like a user-owned payday lending network, and because it's like oriented around users, it's like it just won't be as sharky.
So that's what Chime was trying to do as well, right? That, which is like a online bank or something like that, with doing like a different type of payday loan to make it, I don't know, less sharky, essentially what you're saying. But it seems like, yeah, there's even a next step of even better, right? That's a great use case, in my opinion. There's a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck and just, sometimes things come up and you might need it sooner. So that's pretty cool. Love that use case. So, okay. So tell us a little more about where you're at, what you're doing, and what we should know about Opacity and all the things. Like what else is like interesting in terms of what you're building? And the other question I have for you all is, how has Farcaster played a role in your like entrepreneurial journey, I guess is a better question.
I'll just chime in real quick before Hirsch goes off, because I said that Farcaster as an economy is reductive. And Dan hasn't responded to one of my threads in like over a year probably. And he's like, bro, you are like, you get to work at multiple cool companies and startups just because you're big on Farcaster. I was like, point taken, but I still think it's a reductive narrative. So I'll say that personally. Me and Hirsch met on Farcaster, and that's why I'm here. But I'll let him talk a little more about what's going on with the company.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm pretty sure getting into Farcaster was like a key. Without that, I don't think we'd be here today with like as far as we've gotten with Opacity, because I've been obsessed with zk-TLS for many years now. There's like a key technical issue in the details I thought was impossible to solve until I was like doing a few, like I did a few PRs into the Farcaster identity contracts, and was actually working on those, that I stumbled into an elegant solution to this problem that I thought was impossible before. So it's literally like thinking about an identity system around Farcaster is what like allowed me to come up with a solution for what Opacity is today. But beyond that, the highest alpha thing I've done as a founder, and this kind of happened accidentally, like I didn't seek out to do it, I just like started shit posting at Farcaster, is somehow get on the auto follow list and just like have amass a large following on Farcaster. Like most of our initial hires behind my co-founder and like our COO came because of Farcaster. I randomly put up like $1,000 bounty on bounty bot for a smart contract engineer that hit. Like is actually someone from the Ethereum Foundation who saw it and like knew someone that was available. DeWoofy, of course, him and I met via Farcaster, and an engineer on our team actually I found because of a misspell search, and the skill that I was looking for was like in a profile that showed up, and I just DM'd him, and it's like he's like real like god tier at this really niche skill set. And like it's just like a purely random misspell search. So
that's cool. That's really actually pretty cool.
When I talk to founders, I like really go off on, you should use Farcaster. You should use it actively too. And what I always say is like, you shouldn't post. So people like just start making with friends in the comments, essentially. That's like where you should start in the beginning with Farcaster. And then you can go into like otherwise you probably won't get as much engagement on your actual content. It's about the friends in the comments, not the actual engagement that you get in the beginning.
We completely agree. And that's exactly what we were talking about last week on Farcaster 101, talking about content and just dive into the replies when you're brand new, because that's how people get to know you. That's how you find the content that's interesting to you. That's how you find the people that are interesting to you, is just by diving in and replying and connecting. So love that. Love that so much. Adrian, I'm going to turn it over to you. What you got? I know we had some questions on the timeline too, on our reply.
And a lot of questions in the chat as well. And Doofy, I know you're answering some. Opacity, meaning, is the opposite of transparency, I take it. Hiding, and it's
admittedly, it's like we went through a long list of names, and opacity was the first one where like the domain was available. ENS was like available. So, and like we basically just like jumped on it, but it does make sense, I guess. Like in like a photo editor, the opacity is like ties into ZK. Actually, is like we basically make the existing internet visible from within a blockchain, which is actually like a huge unlock in terms of the use cases that you can build in crypto. But we want to promote like a more user-centric internet. Is like actually that's the only thing we could promote by the nature of what we do. We like need the user to log into some service to generate a proof. So you have to build something compelling enough for the user to get past that hurdle. And it's up to the user how much information they want to share, right?
Awesome. Like Adrian, what else you got?
Well, here, why don't I'm going to
this is the ZK question list.
Yeah, we've got a question list.
And I'm actually realizing a lot of the questions people asked have already been answered.
Yeah.
So we don't actually need to do them. But did you guys know there was an OG crypto ban of the 1990s?
I do remember this, yeah.
It's actually like literally just from like the FBI. Yeah, just cryptography. Yeah. The FBI being like, well, if we do this, then we can't solve crimes. So we must ban cryptography.
Yeah.
History. So I just ended up following these links. It was really interesting. Oh, this was the first question from JRH3K5. How does the off-chain computation of a ZK proof get mathematically verified? And I don't even know. I was like,
I'm going to go in the other
room. I don't even know what he's asking.
All right, I can make an attempt here.
Okay.
So,
but what's he asking? Can you paraphrase his question in English?
Well, I mean,
or conceptually, like what does that mean?
So in like when I was going off on ZK earlier, my claim is like you could do some computation. I can show you the result. Like I'll check if your birth date makes it so you're over 21. You just get a true or false, and then some proof that this was done correctly, right? And it's kind of like a mind-blowing thing. What he's asking is, mathematically, how can you construct a proof where you can just like check if a particular output was done honestly? It's kind of like if you would have asked me when I was like in college, I probably would have guessed that it's impossible to do, but amazingly, it is possible to do. So there's like I guess I can lay it out as like an analogy. So your normal Ethereum wallet, you have your private key, as you know, like stored, in your Rainbow or like MetaMask, whatever wallet you use, and then you have your public key or like the wallet address that you can like share freely. It's like this asymmetric system is important because I can sign a message with my private key, and then the world can check that message was signed correctly given my public key, right? And so in ZK, it's like basically the first step is you take some program and you represent it as a polynomial. And how this is done in practice is like pretty complicated. As you can imagine, not every type of like program is easily represented as a polynomial. But then once you have it as a polynomial, you basically generate like two keys that are analogous to your like private key and your public key. You generate your proving key and then a verifying key, I guess, but you can share both of these publicly. And then when you generate the proof, you use the proving key plus like your polynomial to generate the proof. And then you submit it on chain. And then you can use like your public key or the verifying key and check it against the proof. So you can basically generate like a key pair for your program is the analogy that I want to lay out.
Those are crazy analogies that still involve math.
So just to summarize, The answer is math.
Yeah. You're just doing
the answer
finite
is
fields over
polynomial.
polynomials. Yeah.
Got it. It's amazing. I feel like I'm ready to go back to school.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since
you've been doing some math.
Yeah. Okay. And I think you kind of answered this. I just have a question about kind of the business. I'm like, I think no, we're not sharing.
Do you want to show that? Okay.
That's separate. I find ZK just like really interesting. I understand the use cases. It's very clear. It's necessary, and that from like a company perspective, you guys are primarily, it sounds like, providing ZK as a service to other companies and developers who are looking who need verification, as opposed to me as like a consumer who's on chain.
Yeah, so I'll jump in because this is like the BD-ish part.
He's right? Like, I can answer this one. This doesn't involve math.
I know. I'm so excited. No analogies necessary, just calls to action. Yeah. So because the way it works, and I was talking about Rafi with this in the chat, it's like it's user-owned data only. Like we can't just people like, can we just export the Twitter graph? And like that's not how it works. Like the user has to sign in, and you have that TLS security that Hirsch was talking about, and that's what we can verify. We know that it's coming from a certain place. So because we need the user cooperation, like 99% of my conversations are all with like consumer apps. Because if you have a consumer app, you have some carrot to dangle or something to get users to log in. So like for that DoorDash example, right? It's like, why would you sign up for like another DoorDash? Because they pay you 30% more because they have a 10% take rate, it's 40%. Right? You don't even have to leave DoorDash, right? You can just use all the platforms like most drivers probably do, but you have a really good reason to log in and verify like your DoorDash credentials, and you'll get rewarded for it. Same with the TikTok. Working with Teleport, like Daylight, the energy company, like verify that you own this Tesla Powerwall so you can earn rewards on their protocol for like sending energy back to the grid, right? As long as there's a user to log in, then we can verify any data that we can see from that platform. So yeah, so like as a person who's using consumer apps, you probably wouldn't talk to us directly, but anyone who's building a consumer app, this thing like it lets you like target the right users to like onboard them to your platform, right? B, you can verify that people do something somewhere else, like the TikTok example. Like you want to like have a reward. I was talking with Tim from Bracket about this by like, if you're like a huge like Chicago Bears fan on Reddit, we can like give you some free Bears packs or something like that, right? There's all these things that you can do with that's like already existing data. If you're building any sort of like, and it can be as crypto as you want it to be, right? Like Bracket is definitely a crypto game, but you just log in with your email and you're playing with like points and stuff, right? So he doesn't even need to bring that on chain. He can just verify it, figure out how many packs you're supposed to get, then give you your packs on chain. And this like proof never hits the on chain like area.
It's that's like cool. Plaid is probably like a analogous Web2 business that we have a lot of similarities to, but I would say we're much better in that like Plaid actually like sells people's data like behind. There's been lawsuits around like them selling people's data behind their backs, and it doesn't work in a crypto or blockchain context. So we enable a Plaid for a wide variety of APIs, not just bank APIs, but you get the data in such a way where it's privacy preserving, and you can even bring it on chain if you want to. So it's better in all respects.
So you're not like holding the data, you're just verifying data that exists elsewhere, which is fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, very cool.
I'm gonna cry because it's just such a beautiful world. I freaking hate all these companies that hold my data and sell it.
No, and this is, I think,
I just want a little privacy for my crimes and for my legit.
You want to hear a meme coin idea?
Bring it. So, I mean, of course.
I'm pretty sure Plaid, if you like email them requesting them to delete your data, they like legally have to respond to you. And well, I don't want to name the person, but I know like a pretty like famous investor in the space who like just literally he has like a long email thread of him asking Plaid to delete his email. Emails are verifiable. You could literally create a meme coin where that pays out based on people asking Plaid to delete their data to incentivize people to like just like exit Plaid. I think that would really take off.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's very interesting. Oh, funny. Yeah, I'm curious to see. So there's a lot of feelings about the meme coin mania that we're currently experiencing, but I'm enjoying it in a lot of ways. And the ways I'm enjoying most of it is the things that are different and unique and people playing around with, like I love Clanker and like what's happening there. And just because it's different and it's pretty impressive in terms of the innovation, if you really think about it. Like the fact that you're launching it just by a cast, and when you launch it, then there's like this whole page that's just there in seconds that has everything you need. Like that's like, I think that's being a little underrated in terms of all of that, because that is like crazy if you think about it, how quickly that's all happening and coming together. And then watching what happened with Anon and Anon cast and all of that, like that to me is all so fun and interesting and different. And you know that all of those things are going to lead to something else. It's not just about the meme coin. Some of these are just shit coins. We know that, but there's these other things that
just
are happening.
Few.
Just a few.
I love your prop. I'm so bearish. I think it's such a distraction. I think the Anon thing, it's cool.
It's
I love
big old distraction. It is absolutely a big distraction.
Yeah.
But the things that are really interesting are really interesting. Like in terms of the technology, in terms of like what's happening sort of under the hood, to me there's a lot there that we're just scratching the surface of. And I think that's what's making this a little bit fun. But
see, I'm wrong all the time, but I'm bearish.
No, I get it. It's also a huge distraction. Like, believe me, it is. And I'm like, I have to keep going. I can't look at that right now. I don't have time. I will look at you at 10 o'clock and hopefully I haven't lost money. But
we just did a whole show. I realized we just did the whole show and haven't covered meme coins.
I chose to not even cover them because there's a time.
Ginger, Dollar Side Ginger did get launched.
Yes, it did.
In addition to Blonde and Brunette, we called
like
that.
6 of them got launched at least that I saw. Yeah.
And we didn't talk about the MetaMask experiment.
Hilarious.
We don't.
Yeah. So the MetaMask founder, in case you guys missed it, he launched Consent. Yeah. He launched the coin Consent. He was not happy with the experience. And the funniest part was he was really unhappy with the mobile experience on MetaMask. And if you can just follow that one through, because that to me was hilarious. I almost wanted to reply until I realized who it was. I almost replied, yeah, MetaMask never works good on mobile. Don't you know that?
Shout out to Dan, other Dan.
There you go.
I was like, I probably shouldn't say that too. Damn.
I think he'd take it fine, honestly. Like from what I've seen, I haven't interacted with Dan directly, but he seems like he's got pretty thick skin. I feel like if you've been running MetaMask this long, like either you give up or you develop the thick skin. I don't think he'd take it personally. That's
like I just thought that was the funniest comment. I was like, is he serious? Like, does he not know that MetaMask just doesn't work well on mobile? Hey, oh, wait, no, he does know. Oh, okay, never mind.
We're working on it.
Oh. But that was funny. There were so many things, but the Anon stuff to me was sort of the most interesting thing that's happened in the past couple of days. And also Blonde. I am enjoying Blonde, but there's so many. There's just too many. We can't cover them all anymore. Also, reminder, in case I forgot to mention it today, they're risky. I'm not even going to call them assets. Be very careful. You're in a casino. Don't spend more than you can afford to lose because you will lose about 90%. So just be aware. Just my usual disclaimer that I almost forgot. Back to the tech.
On the topic of Anon, I think things can get really interesting, especially with our tech. We can let people prove that they're employed somewhere, for example, or they were employed somewhere. And then layering that into Anon, you can have a lot of drama be created.
Interesting.
And I don't think
so that's what leads to the whistleblower, like the on-chain whistleblower Anon thing, and that to me is really interesting. Like that's what I mean by
too, right? You could be like, not only I worked at Merkle, but like, I mean, this is a bad one, right? Like you could be like, I can prove I'm a founder of Merkle, and then it's either Dan or V. That's like talking shit, but you don't know which one. You're like, MetaMask doesn't work on mobile. I do think it gets pretty funny if you start doing that, or like if you can can prove that someone got fired, and they're like, yo, fuck that place. There's a lot of different things you can do.
Yeah. It's I think there's a lot of fun to be had, and we're gonna see more of it. Adrian, back to you. What other questions do you have for the
I think we
crew?
covered them all. Yeah, and I know we're probably short on time.
Yeah.
To maybe just wrap up for you guys, like a year from now.
Ooh, good question.
What have we seen in the ZK space that doesn't exist today?
I think what I'm hoping to see, like what we primarily focus on is my theory, like the thing I've been going off about is that ZK has been in a bubble basically. And funny enough, the stuff that we're working on is a way to actually like bring it back to reality. What the only thing that we could potentially work on are consumer apps that solve problems for people. And the interesting thing is like basically Opacity was started a year ago. I had a whole list of use cases I thought would be the first things built. But what's happened is I only got one thing right in terms of predicting it. Everything else that's taken off is stuff I would have like never seen, right? We have a company that's really good at making things go viral on TikTok, right? I don't use TikTok. The earned wage access market, we're not super familiar with it. And so I'm hesitant to predict particular use cases, but I think especially conversations I've had with like founders who are interested in exploring ZK-TLS is it'll be consumer products that I think will lead the way in this next cycle of crypto.
I agree. This is interesting from Rafi. Anons with .gov email. Oh wait, that would be interesting. Yeah, there's your whistleblowers. But you could do, I mean, that's another great use case. Honestly, the .gov or .edu or whatever, you know, particular type of limited top level domain that you're trying to,
like .xyz, and then I just block them all.
Yeah, I was reading actually I was reading an article this morning from my guy that I quote a lot, Adam Mastroianni, and he mentioned the Scenius in this article as like these different things that like sort of occur. But I think there's a lot of interesting things. We say consumer apps, and I think that's sort of the first driving. But once people are able to like share their data, like if you can verify these types of things about who you are and sort of signal, you know, where your value proposition is, like the whistleblower is very cool. I think the Sceniuses, like as DAOs get much more interesting as well, you can verify like who should be like a part of this, or like verify that someone did something off chain to earn rewards on chain. There's just a huge problem space and design space to get into these things once you've got sort of like one of the big things about Web3 is you can put economic incentives on things, right? Because it's all verified. So when you can layer that on top of Web 2, then just a lot gets unlocked. So I think it'll be like a much more like user-centric year as opposed to like platform or infra for 2025. And like what that means, to Hirsch's point, is like all TBD. Like I get a new idea literally every single week when I talk to potential partners for Opacity.
Yeah, that's got to be interesting because there's always things you don't think of because you're not in that space. Like great point about TikTok. Like I wouldn't think about TikTok use cases at all. Like
it's all I think about. I spent all day thinking about TikTok use cases.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense though. It makes a lot of sense, especially for what's happening in that space right now. So very cool. Adrian,
we might see a bank too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, what the heck is going on with the bank? I almost forgot about that. We didn't even talk about the bank. What are you buying a bank? What is going on?
So here, I guess the backstory here is I had this. So you could construct what's called like a verifiable bank with ZK-TLS because the ACH system in the US is actually secured by TLS. So like maybe a specific example would help. Let's say you want to sell 5% of your direct deposit for the next 6 months, right? You construct an asset that represents like, you know, a proportion of your direct deposit, sell to someone on chain. You can have a bank that will automatically like redirect that proportion to whoever owns the asset and then prove that they did it correctly because the ACH system would be verifiable. There's like a whole lot of cool use cases that would crop up. Like in traditional like TradFi products like a CD fixed deposit, to be honest, I don't even know what that is. I was just talking to a banker and he gave this example where if you have that, it's basically an illiquid asset. If you want to borrow against it because you have like something like come up, it's a human process you go through. But if you make the bank verifiable, you could just do it in software. So you can basically have a much more rich landscape of just like consumer finance. That's like the backstory. But I just like filed it away. Sriram mentioned an idea. I'm like, oh, I know how to do this because I had a write up on how to do it. Find a struggling bank, buy it, and hook it up to EigenLayer as like a half joke. And then Sriram quote tweeted it, and I thought like I knew what PMF felt like, but now I actually know, like, just that idea of a verifiable bank, the amount of people that reached out to me, I'm talking like really like well-respected Wall Street bankers. And so I think there's definitely interest in the bank. There's like some stuff I can't say publicly just yet, but it's like it's
a real possibility. It's really in the works.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay, so that's
also just from a general, from a general perspective, it's hard to find. Like, I would just like to have a debit card I could use that's just pulling from my ETH, but like without me having to fully like change that over. You know what I mean? Like, so there's all kinds of possibilities there.
Yeah, there's some
and then
coming
in
out.
terms of like lending and borrowing and all, there's so much that we're not doing because there's so many banks that are anti-crypto. So it's really hard to like, I think there's definitely amazing possibilities there. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Doofy? Sorry.
I'll say there's like multiple approaches, right? Like the EtherFi guys are launching a card that I think is pretty interesting. That'll let you like have a credit line based off like your crypto holdings, which I think is like cool. A pretty smart product. So just if anyone's looking for that, but like to Hirsch's point, like there's all these exotic derivatives and stuff like that that really sort of open up the world. And this is like how, like I come from TradFi. This is how really rich people stay and continue to get really rich. Yeah, exactly. Like you look at that stuff and they're like, oh no, you're too poor. You don't understand. I'm like, that always struck me as like bullshit. You know what I mean? Like from the government, they're like, you don't understand risk. You can't have these high return strategies. So if you could just construct it yourself and like offer the service to anyone, I think everyone gets a lot like wealthier as you can express your own like risk tolerance and have access to credit and things like that. So like earned wage access is like one version. But if you get the whole bank hooked up, then like game on. This is a completely different level of like, to Hirsch's point, PMF. Like we're talking like orders of magnitude difference for sure.
The whole accredited investor thing annoys me on many levels because you're limiting the ability of people to eventually reach that level because of that level. It's like there's this very catch-22.
Yeah, at the risk of getting political, like I really think like people need, like you need a little bit of like pain to learn lesson, like you need opportunity to learn lesson, like you need to be able to like improve your social standing, your economic standing, like you need to be able to like take risks and you need to be able to really engage with whatever it is that you're trying to learn about. And by like cutting it off at the knees or by like, giving like handouts to people. And then like, I think this actually like keeps people down. I think you need to just really offer like as much opportunity as possible to people. And this is, a step in that direction to like sort of like humanity as a whole lift up.
I feel like for the past few years, especially in the SEC and Gary and all the folks trying to protect us, consumer protection, like you're consumer protecting me from earning money is what you're doing at the moment. Can you stop that, please? Like it's really frustrating. But yeah, I think there's like amazing possibilities. So we definitely want to see Hirsch back. Yep, we're here for it. We're here for it. I'm dying to see it happen. Adrian, what else did I forget? Anything else you wanted to ask before we wrap?
No, I think we covered it all.
Or Sir Doofy, anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up?
Follow me on TikTok.
Are you Doofy on TikTok?
I am Doofy on TikTok, and I've started to find other crypto people. I found McBain. Obviously, awesome. I follow Ted, the Rehash.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you know, but Ted's on TikTok.
Yeah, Ted's on TikTok. I follow Lamb Chop, who found Farcaster via TikTok. So,
that's funny.
That's cool.
My feed's definitely strange right now as I follow people who have like nothing to do with each other, but I know from Farcaster. But it's all good. We'll figure it out.
Apparently, Base finally they posted the thing we did at Basecamp, so we're on TikTok. Tony just shared it with me, and I forgot to pull it for this one. When we talked to Base at Basecamp, so he said, "Oh, you're TikTok famous." I'm like, "Famous is a big word, but okay." don't think we're famous. As we wrap up, I do want to mention that today, 3 p.m., we do have our final Farcaster 101 going live at 3 p.m. about channels, and then office hours at 4 p.m. We do not have a show on Friday. So happy Thanksgiving. We will be back on Monday with Dan Romero at some point. We believe it'll be 11:30 a.m. Eastern, but we will confirm that and let you know. And Hirsch, anything else from you before we wrap? It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. No, this has been a great time. Appreciate you guys having me on. If anyone wants to talk about ZKTLS, I actually prioritize DCs on Warpcast over any other way of reaching out to me. So definitely that's the place to hit me up.
I love that. I love that. It's amazing. Adrian, anything else? There we go. Love it.
Euler, what do you think of my background?
I mean, you had you definitely had me convinced. I think the first FCNY, that party, I totally believed it, but now I'm a bit skeptical. Why don't you ask Dan on the next one? Let's see if we can corroborate.
We'll ask Dan. As soon as I saw that OG, when it first dropped, the first thing I think I casted this was this is the prompt. I said the prompt was Adrian at the gates of Farcaster, waiting to welcome it because it was permissionless, right? It was permissionless, was just launching, waiting to welcome the masses while also protecting the vibes. Saying, come on in, but don't mess our vibes up.
I forget I can be a little sarcastic in real life. When you meet me in real life.
In real life?
Do you think you're not sarcastic on camera?
This is real life. On the feed. I'm not sarcastic when I cast. I don't think I cast sarcastically. Oh, I do.
On occasion.
Okay, I forget
on occasion, Adrian face does translate into casts. Yes, on occasion.
Yes.
I actually have a question for you guys on this topic.
Yeah.
I've had it happen a few times where I'll meet someone I've only interacted with on Farcaster, and they tell me that I'm less unhinged in person than I am online. But I don't actually think I'm that unhinged on Farcaster. So I'd be curious to get your guys' thoughts there.
What do you think, Adrian? This is a very thoughtful response.
Yeah. I also think I don't think it's a hinge unhinge spectrum.
Yeah, either.
But there is a difference between the energy you bring on the feed and I don't know if I can come up with the right adjective, but it's not a snark.
Off the dome.
Off the dome. I don't even understand what that means.
Off your head. I think you sometimes just you just cast and you're not really overthinking it, and you're not realizing that maybe the tone isn't what you wanted it to be. But I don't see it that often. It's every once in a while. There's one that I'm what did you mean by that?
I know. Yeah. You cast like you're in our small group chat on the public feed, which is what makes Farcaster amazing, because we talk like we're in a group chat. And I think what happened is as Farcaster got bigger and audiences got bigger, the way you casted still stayed the same, which is fine and authentic, and that's great. But I think people who don't know you or didn't know the history of you, when they meet you in person and you're like, oh, you're a little more thoughtful and you talk about polynomials, you're not a total wacko. And I don't think you cast all wacko. It's just sometimes you'll and I have no examples, but yeah, there's a difference. So
you're just a little wacko, not like a full-on wacko.
Yeah.
I don't think unhinged. I agree with you though. Unhinged.
It's not unhinged.
It's not the right term. Yeah, I've seen unhinged. That's not unhinged. It's definitely not. You're not unhinged.
I strategically put as little thought into casting as possible, and actually would rather stick to just assuming that Farcaster is like a big friendly group chat. I think it'll just be a better social network, or my time there will be better interacting with it in that way.
I think I'm similar. I'm just a little more hinged. That's all. I think I really don't. Yeah, I don't really censor myself too much. I mean, occasionally in a group chat, I'm going to go a little bit more crazy, but also I never say anything that I wouldn't expect, wouldn't be happy to see on a timeline kind of thing. So if it got out kind of thing. So it's like, I'm very much the same. I kind of treat it like a big group chat.
I censor myself. I have to.
I don't really censor much. I really don't censor. And we don't really censor much on here, by the way. That's why we stream live. We stream live and we don't edit.
No, YouTube censors you as well. I learned yesterday.
Yeah.
Because for those that don't know, Doofy was on a stream and I tried to join it and it was being censored.
Yeah, they got me good. I thought it might happen. That's why I didn't.
Little copyright takedown. Little copyright takedown.
Is this the word? They had a very nice.
This karaoke is that good.
Yeah,
it's just like their like copyright algorithm for music triggered.
Exactly.
Oh, speaking of, last thing, what song am I queuing up for you guys for our GM Farcaster karaoke brunch?
Go ahead, Gersh.
What's your song? What's your karaoke go-to song? We need to know.
Rock You Eternally. We'll go really bold on this one, Doofy. There's like
Eternally. I don't even know that one.
I'll go with it.
We're probably embarrass ourselves doing it, but it's
can't wait.
That's the point.
Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, we're running it back at ETH Denver. We haven't set everything in motion, but we're definitely gonna run this back at ETH Denver with our karaoke breakfast once again. Absolutely. So that'll be happening, and we may have to do it in New York too for FarCon New York. I think we'll have to figure that out. See if we can find a karaoke brunch in New York. There's got to be one, I assume. It's freaking New York. It's got to be one somewhere. If we found one in Denver, we can find one in New York. All right, awesome. This has been awesome. Come by anytime. We love having you here. So if you guys have something to talk about, something big, you're welcome anytime. Mine doesn't do the hearts, but I can do that much. I'm not on a Mac. I'm just on.
Thanks for having us.
But we love having you here.
We do have a company in our ecosystem who can make stuff go viral on Instagram and TikTok. Like they're very good at it. So if you guys have a message you want to promote across like outside of crypto Twitter and Farcaster, we can hook it up.
Awesome. We'll have to do that.
Put art clips up on my TikTok. I'm gonna take A16Z money and put it into opacity and then put it into Z to make myself go viral. This is all part of the this is one big grift by me, honestly.
This is his master plan for 2025.
Reveal this to Hirsch.
TikTok famous is what he's looking to do.
All to get Chris Dixon to make me famous on TikTok. This is all
That's hilarious. And also, oops, wrong thing. I wanted this one, not that one. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Just wanted to shout this one out. I love gravy. I'm very excited about Thanksgiving here in the US. It's always one of my favorite holidays. So enjoy, everybody. And with that, we're going to call it.
Well, actually, if I can make a one last message I want to get across here. So one of my biggest regrets, because I got into crypto when I was like 16 years old, I really regret not like dropping out of college earlier and just becoming a builder in the space. Like, honestly, and given where I
forgot we were going to talk about
that. If there's anyone listening who's like in college, hates school, but you really want to work in crypto, I have a long list of people who have dropped out and become builders in crypto, and I would definitely encourage it. Actually,
I mean, technically, Nanish, a little late to the game, but our most recent college dropout, right?
Yeah, kind of. Not really. I'm still teaching one class. I will say this about higher ed, and I have a very straightforward approach to this. It's not for everybody. If you are internally motivated, especially if you're going into tech, and you have a drive there already, college is probably not going to help you achieve your goals. If you're a programmer, if you're a dev, there are other better options, flat out. If you're not sure and you don't know what you want to do, college is probably a good place for you to go. But at the same rate, as long as you're thinking about the return on investment, Don't take out a jillion loans to do it. Not going to be worth it, especially where we're at now. But if you can find a way to get scholarships, get it paid for, in Florida, I say this all the time, we have something called Bright Futures. Then you go to a Florida state school, you can get it all paid for if you have certain grades and all that, then it's probably worth it. But otherwise, you're 100% right. If you already have that drive and you know what you want to do, it's probably not going to help you. However, education does help.
You're like, however, if you're my son and you're listening, you're going to college.
My child's going to college. Absolutely. But I do think that, and I see this, so I teach in School of Entrepreneurship, but there's 600 students in that school. And probably each year there's 5 to 10 who are actually entrepreneurs, who actually have that drive, who, if they drop out, totally get it because they've got the drive, they've got the goal, they know what they're going to do. They're staying in school because their parents are making them, that kind of thing. But most of them don't have that drive, and without the college degree are going to falter big time. So it depends on who you are. But I think that's great. If you have that drive, go for it. You don't need the college degree more and more so is not going to be the key to your success. It's going to be what you do with it and what you do afterwards and who you meet along the way. For sure.
Like the next 18 months in crypto is going to be like making up for lost time as well.
Yep.
And there's going to be a huge return on investment of your time spending that time in crypto building because the space is just going to move a whole lot faster. And you'd probably miss a lot staying in college. Just my 2 cents.
I know you were looking for a fight, but I'm not giving you one because I don't disagree. If you have the drive,
I've been on.
But you need to still educate yourself. You have to have internal drive because you're going to need to learn this on your own. And most of it has to be learned on your own. Most of it you're not going to learn in a classroom because there aren't enough about crypto anyway.
Unless you subscribe to GM Farcaster 101.
Exactly.
In case you don't have to learn it on your own.
Exactly. Adrian, did you want to add any notes on there? As we both tell our kids to stay in school.
Yeah, I've been on an anti-college kind of crusade myself. Not that I think colleges are useless. It's just if you look at trends in terms of like the value of the credential.
Yep.
The internet, like you really can learn. You can learn anything you want today.
Absolutely.
Pretty much for free online. And it's for self-motivated learners and people who are doing, and to Euler's point, the experience matters so much. So like to get it. So especially from for if you're a developer, a coder. So fully agree. However, I've changed my perspective a little bit lately now, having a kid in college and having I still think there's a lot of value in the science like the research institutions today in certain fields. So
I think it depends on the field.
Depends what you want to do.
Depends on your goals.
But I don't think.
But also, you
mentioned
self-motivated. Like I've taught thousands of college age students, thousands, and I will tell you, there's only a tiny bit who are actually self-motivated, and who actually will take those next steps and who have critical thinking skills. Like the best thing we can be doing is training more people to have critical thinking skills, especially in the age of AI. So that's the problem. And sometimes college is where they find the thing that actually motivates them to do more, to reach more and that kind of thing. So it just depends on, I think it's a very individual thing. But if you're already there, go for it. Say again?
For me, it was alcoholism. That's what I discovered in college.
That too. Yeah. There's that part of it too.
And social skills
aspect, there is something to that. The social aspects and learning how to, live on your own, but in a very, safe environment kind of thing. So there's aspects to it that also make a difference, but you have to weigh that with the return on investment. It's not worth it if you're taking out.
Refuse to let me troll now. Refuse to let me troll.
No, not letting you troll. Not letting you troll me.
On the topic of the sciences though, like this is something I'm self-motivated in. I have 15-minute long sequence of videos going in depth on how photosynthesis works. I've gone on geological expeditions, awesome. This will be years ago now. So if you are if you're really smart, interested in those areas, most likely your career and how you make money is not going to be in physics or geology,
right.
But you'll just you can keep up with it on the side. is like whatever your main mission in life is probably gonna take up a lot more of a, like you can do things like at the same time. You can walk and chew gum.
I agree.
Yeah, and you can have a job and learn something.
Yeah, that was like 4 last
Means
words.
last words.
Yeah.
I love it though. We're gonna give it to you. We're giving you the last word.
We just keep trying to wrap, and then
I know, but it's actually a really interesting conversation. I love it.
But Prof
cut him off. He's got to go build.
But Prof has presses the button to end the stream. So the last word has to say bye-bye. So it's like that time when Ethernet got in a conversation with MF or GPT and the conversation wouldn't end.
But it's a great conversation. I hate to end it, but we do need to end it. Right. But it's been awesome. It's been so awesome. It really has. And I've enjoyed it so much. So with that, we are really going to say bye-bye. But hang out for a second if you can, so we can say goodbye after we end the stream. But thank you, Duoufy and Euler. I'm gonna say it wrong.
Euler Lagrange.
I gotta say it with the French accent, and then we're fine. Euler Lagrange.
Ferris Bueller.
All right. With that, everybody, we say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.